you're still with the news at 1 here on SABC 3. The looming recession in the United States should set the alarm bells ringing in South Africa. According to COFACE Executive Director Michael Creighton, South Africa remained largely unaffected by the economic downturn in Europe and the US in 2001 and 2002. But he warns that we won't be so fortunate this time around. Michael joins us now for a little bit more on this. Thank you for your time and welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, we managed to escape it in 2001 and 2002. What's so different about this time?
I think the current environment in South Africa has changed quite a lot. During the course of last year, there's been significant amount of interest rate increases, which has put pressure on people who have borrowed money and have to obviously repay that back. Also on corporates that have higher levels of debt and have to repay that back. So unlike in the previous period, the interest rates have hit us in the last few months, or the last 12 months or so. In addition, we've obviously had power cuts recently. So there's definitely pressures on the South African economy that will have a negative effect if there's an international slowdown.
But exactly what sectors do you foresee being affected mainly?
In South Africa, obviously the commodities will continue to do well, particularly with high demand in China. However, sectors in the particularly the manufacturing sector, where they are exporting into the USA, that will definitely be hit, or exporting to other markets that will be negatively affected by a US slowdown. They will definitely be affected. But then just generally coming back to South Africa, all South African businesses, if the South African economy follows a slowdown as a result of an international slowdown, then all South African businesses are going to be negatively affected.
But what's the likelihood of something like that happening? Because we've been hearing some economists saying because of the large demand or the huge demand from your emerging superpowers like your China, your India, and some countries in South America, that in itself will carry the South African economy and other African economies which are commodities based.
I think certainly what is well known, maybe the US won't go into an actual recession, but they will certainly go into a slowdown, which will have an effect on other markets. And South Africa is not isolated. We will be affected by that slowdown. So our trading partners, if they are not demanding product at the same level, then it is going to affect our product. So maybe in the commodities things will do well, but in normal manufactured sectors it will struggle. And then of course you have to look at the pressures that the South African marketplace and the international marketplace will put on the consumer in South Africa.
Yeah.
And if the consumer with higher interest rates is spending less, then that is going to have impact on businesses.
Now, what do South African companies in particular need to do then to cushion the blow?
Okay, I think as you've pointed out, there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of different people are saying different things about what is going to happen. As businesses, we owe it to ourselves, our shareholders and our employees to start to analyze the current environment, look at the different trends that are taking place, look at what is happening internationally, look at what is happening in the local market, identify how that is going to affect our own businesses, and through that analysis of the environment, start to position your businesses to best take into account what is happening.
Because part of the argument is that now is the opportune time for South African companies to forge stronger South-South ties. Because if you have the major economies like your US and some of the European economies going into some kind of slowdown, then this is the chance for the emerging countries to forge ahead.
Yes, definitely. And our understanding of the situation is that the first world markets are going to go into a slowdown, and many of their growth rates are being predicted at about 1.5%. But in the emerging markets, we're predicting growth in excess of 6%. Slightly down from sort of high 6% to maybe lower 6%, but still growth much higher than the first world markets. So I think there are opportunities for South Africa to look at working with other emerging markets, look at other regions outside of the USA, look at other regions that are not going to be as affected by the USA downturn as some other countries, and then trade with those partners.
All right, let's leave it there. Thank you so much for coming through and talking to us, Michael Creighton, who is the Executive Director of COFACE.